Okay, hello folks. We are live. Hi. Just gonna do a quick 1 hour stream, I think. Um, just a little bit before dinner. A little bit of time. Mostly I just want to kind of get myself in the mindset of what we're gonna be working on tomorrow. I'm doing a full day stream tomorrow on this. I think we were looking at multi-discrete, right? Yeah. Okay, let's figure this out then. I think operation not permitted when stream is capturing. Cool. Hey Roger, how's it going? We're just doing a quick little stream. Be here about an hour. We're gonna fix a couple quick things with Puffer. Well, of course with Puffer. We're gonna fix a couple things with the multi-discrete sampling kernel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I'll be alive all day tomorrow. Interesting. Number M's, number agents. Why is this OOM? CUDA out of memory. Well. M's, number agents. Oh, this is all fine. It's gotta be making a bajillion agents or something weird, right? Somehow. How do we debug this? Can print out tensor shapes, maybe? See if this shape is correct. Agent sandboxes. Huh. Yeah, but they're doing it weird with language models, man. What I do here is very different. $64. Isn't that really big? Wait, observation. No, that's fine. 4096. That's totally fine. Actions is also fine. Very weird. I created it from scratch. What is it? I think you got a message eaten on YouTube. Okay, so it's probably the train op is weird, right? Hey, Liberty. I'm doing well. Quick little stream here. Actually, we don't want debug equals 1. Forget, it's very weird. The C++ torch debugging is kind of a pain. Really, a lot of the annoyances come from torch. How's health? Pretty good. I ran 7-minute pace 5K today. So probably back to like 90%. My PB is 640. Okay, so this is not getting called, slash the debugger is broken, one of the two. Graph.actions.size. Oops. What is it? Started going to the gym, steaking eggs all day. Any others besides protein powder? I mean, unless you have a very good appetite, having a protein powder is usually a good idea. You know, I make my hot chocolate, my protein hot chocolate in the morning. What I screw up here? Valid op. Int to binary operator. Okay, yeah, okay, very cool. I'm pretty tired. I did my 5K and I did about an hour and a half worth of lifting. The thing is, diet advice is very individual because it entirely depends on whether you need to gain weight or lose weight and whether you have a high appetite or low appetite. Like, it's going to be completely different depending on those things. Like, for me, there have been points where literally just eat as much ice cream as possible has been actually good diet advice. That is possible. Okay, how are we not calling this function at all, huh? My metabolism. Yeah, that's pretty much where I started off inish. You get your calories in however you get them. Hitting protein for the day is not that hard if you eat some meat and have a shake. Hitting calories can be much harder. That mug of hot chocolate, there's a recipe on Twitter where I would make it with like a cup of heavy cream. So you can get 1,000 calories into a mug of hot chocolate that will barely fill you up at all. I think that that's probably somewhat healthier than just eating a ton of ice cream. There are also dedicated like mass gain shakes that are reasonably high calorie as well. Though I think for the density of it, the hot chocolate kind of wins. Getting protein on surplus is easy. Um, so it's not necessarily easy hyper because the if you have a low appetite, the surplus itself is hard. And vegetarian? Yeah, so hyper, I ran a 1,500 calorie per day diet over the summer while running 40 miles a week of pure hills and also lifting and doing my normal research. And it wasn't that hard because I wasn't even that hungry. Maybe the last couple weeks I was pretty darn fatigued, but that was about it. Now, if you try to get me to run a 1,500 calorie a day surplus, I will not be able to function because I'm just like constantly bloated from too much food. Okay, so something is screwy here. Derek from research. Creatine. Creatine is apparently very good, yes. I have not found any form of creatine I can tolerate. It just completely destroys my digestion. So I've tried a few different times with a few different forms, and it's just never worked. Sleep apnea also sucks. Get that shit fixed immediately. You cannot be a functional person with sleep apnea. That's like, I mean, that's like one of those you go fix that before you do anything else, because obviously you can't do anything else before that, duh. Oh, okay, I'm dumb here, right? So, yeah, of course this isn't getting called. Fine. That's 100% fine. This is just me being tired. Try with kernel set to false. When did he grow his beard? He didn't. He's been lazy shaving. That's literally it, man. I've been lazy shaving. Probably be shaved this weekend, and I need a haircut as well, because I have about 2 times too much hair. Wait, hang on. How hard was it to remove junk? It's so much easier. So me wanting junk food, not hard at all. I just like go to a diner, man. You want like good food that's relatively healthy, just like go get stuff from a diner. You won't really care about the fast food. Um, it's just not that good. Now, cooking I still don't do. You don't have to cook your own food in order to have things be cheap or easy. Like, there are other things you can do. Depends where you live, suppose. What's the best diet to function properly? What did I have today? So I didn't have time to have my protein shake this morning, but normally I will have, I make like a big mug of hot chocolate with 2 cups of whole milk, a little bit of cocoa powder, and 2 scoops of protein. It's 500 something calories with 66 grams of protein. And if I'm training, then I go train and I will go over to, there's like a diner there that I will go over to for brunch. I'll get myself like a good skillet, some potatoes, eggs, ham, stuff like that, some coffee, maybe an extra bowl of soup. And well, while I'm here in Florida, that's pretty much what I have around. Is I have a bunch of diners around. Dinner, usually like a steak. Sometimes I'll get, if I need more calories, sometimes I'll get like a chicken parmesan or something. Not too much of that since it's fried. And pasta, whatever. Don't really eat fruit. I get plenty of vegetables though. Florida caveman. Florida's good. Florida is very chill. Where is he through the night? Yeah, you need to fix that, dude. Like, you cannot function. You cannot be a functional person with sleep apnea. It does not work. At least a good chunk of the time that can be fixed. Okay, so this is not training. It is running slowly, 1.7 mil, with no kernel. Let's go enable the kernels. It's probably like, is it not in no-grad or some bullshit? Yeah. It's probably just like not under no-grad. But I don't know how this would have changed. Sample logits. Hang on, what do we do in the train forward call? Oh, I see. So it's still gonna get this. It gets this crap is the problem. Right? So presumably this one is the issue. Yeah, that's really bad. Hmm. One of these stupid things is like massive, right? Right here. I don't think what else this would be. I think it's probably just some dumb transpose making like a giant matrix. I'm gonna have to figure out what we do with this as well. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's get us a new window. Yo, where are our prints? Oh, you dummy. There. Rebuild up. Like I said, I just wanted to do a little bit of basic stuff to get my mind back on these problems today. You know, until dinner. And then after that, you know, we got all day tomorrow to do this. Let's see, do we have any bad shapes here? I don't see any stupid big tensors. Yeah, I don't see any stupid big tensors. Something's accumulating though. Make sure this still works. Oh, wait, holy. We broke a thing. We absolutely broke a thing. I thought we tested this. How on earth? Oh, photographs on. Ah. It OOMs without photographs. Interesting. Function reset. Not permitted. Interesting. Presumably it's graphing this crap, right? Yeah, the prints aren't needed. The shapes are fine. Oh, the CPU? That's not good. Sure, I can put them on CPU as well, that's fine. That's fine. Forward call. It'll take the CPU version. It's kind of funny though that it takes well, it's fine though, because if it gets graphed, it just gets hard coded. Like the graph ops get replayed exactly anyways. So, I have no idea if that's the actual issue. I don't see anything there that would be iffy though. Like you should be able to graph everything else there. What's this? Act size of CPU? I shouldn't need both, but we'll leave it for now. Yep, this is what we expect. This is why I'm using Claude for this, because it's like everything is so incredibly redundant right now. I do want to at least minimize the redundancy. It's gonna end up being way more redundancy than I would normally like. But we're gonna at least get the code to be something relatively good. It will at least be way better than the code that's actually in Torch. But that's not exactly a high bar. Yeah, we'll find some other thing. So the key here, right, is this is kind of a really nice example of why it is such a pain in the ass. Like Torch is such a pain in the ass, because most of this crap here for multi-discrete, it's actually simpler to just do this in a custom kernel. Like this is, if you read through the logic here and how things have to be done, it's complete mess. It's just Torch kind of falling apart. Okay, so that runs at least. Is this with kernels? Well, that's with CUDA graphs on, right? Okay, so it doesn't actually train correctly, but it does run a reasonable enough speed. We have kernels on. We do have kernels on. Well, this is now going to be very annoying because how do we see why it is not training? Yeah, that's going to be very irritating, right? What can we do for this? I suppose... You know what we should do? No, I know how we're going to make this work. Go to GDB. I have no idea how it's working. Me neither. Yeah, so I'm gonna let it do this. So what the idea here, right? 9 times 5, 45. So now this becomes a 45 dim action space. And we should be able to solve this. Get rid of this stupid bot. Okay, look, you see that trains perfectly right there? Episode length, this is what we want. It trains perfectly in seconds. Very easy environment. I don't like, well, yeah, we'll start looking at it. I have to figure out what I want to do to figure this out. At least we know this env is good. Trains in seconds, super fast. Oh, you know what we can do? Here. And we'll do it with kernels false. This is debugging more than just one individual kernel, though, Liberty. In fact, it might not even be the kernel. Let's go check. Oh, that does train. You see? That actually trains quite perfectly. Better than before, even. Okay. So, it is in the kernel. It is, in fact, in the kernel. And you can do this. Confirm it's in the kernel. Give it some debug. Ah, apparently I did not. Whoops. Oops. Strides 15 and 1. Yeah, 15 is correct. What this act size thing is. It's a bit silly. So it speeds up my workflow a lot for this specific thing that I'm doing because everything is so heavily redundant in here. So anytime I want to go change something, I don't get to just go change something in one place. I have to change stuff in like between 5 and 10 places. If I were writing something more standalone or that didn't depend on so many other things really, I'd end up with way less code, and editing manually is a lot easier. So it would be a lot less of a big deal. Okay, fair enough. It wants some values. That's fine. The way this kernel is set up looked fine to me when I reviewed it. Honestly, though, I suppose if I think about it, right, like PufferLib is a bigger change to how I used to do RL than any of these language models are to how I program. That's kind of a cool little comparison. This is train MD. I see, but that's not going to help, stupid Claude. I mean, I may as well, I'll give it the full output, but I don't think it's going to be able to do anything with this. Okay, it does actually take the paste. Yeah, I don't think that's going to help. I think we just have to go check this kernel most likely. Index. Write sum to log prob. Wait, sum to log probs. Is this how it's supposed to work? Is log prob supposed to be the sum? Kernel samples correctly. And select. By training time, it's all 0. Interesting. Contents before select. How would it do that? Oh, hang on. Else. Wait, graph value. Wait, I'm confused. Graph log probs. Eh. Wait, did I do something incredibly stupid here? Or just like moderately stupid? I think I might have just like screwed up the. Hang on, I think I might know what this is. We will debug. Also, star this repo if you haven't already, please. We're almost to 5K stars. It's free. It really helps. Please feed the puffer a star. Okay, PufferLib, C++. Go back to this maybe. Nope, I have it correct. State copy, state out copy. Was correct before. Still worth it. Stop teaching the way. Let me put it this way. I don't think AI has changed education that much. So whatever was true a few years ago is still true. Let's put it that way. This is a fine thing to do. It's just checking rollout buffers. It's probably some stupid indexing thing I just missed yesterday. I can go print some stuff, sure. Here, I'll go try this, and then if not, I will go I'll start messing with the kernel. I mean, it pretty much has to just be some stupid indexing thing in this kernel. This crap. Doesn't look like zeros. MB log props is zeros. It could also, the thing that's annoying is it could also be, no, the buffer logic actually would have to be correct because it works without the kernel. Painful to debug. Yeah, I'm being too lazy at the moment though. I should just start looking at it because, I mean, I'll let it try this, but it's looking at the wrong areas right now. Here. What does looking at it entail for something like this? Mostly what I just described. Probably some looking at the data that's coming out of the sample logits. I could probably like go grab the earlier version of sample logits and apply the that version, right? And see if the outputs match for the case where you have one discrete action. I could look at the kernel code manually. I could side by side it with the original. Like there are a bunch of things I can do. I mean, I should at the very least start side by siding this. The thing is, like, it's actually a very simple change to this kernel. And, like, there's also the new launch function and all the other bullshit that makes it, everything is so redundant, right, in this setup. It's actually quite annoying every time I have to go look at it. Okay, yeah, get rid of this crap, dummy. Oops. Kernel CU. Okay, so this was like the original sample logits kernel for a single discrete. So you can see here, if you just sort of match this code, like literally the change here is you add this loop. So now it's a loop over action heads, right? That's the only change. So, I mean, like, offsets. Plus equals it. Yeah, so presumably it's some dumb indexing bug or some dumb stride bug or something like that. This is like one of those cases where the multi-discrete kernel is actually way simpler to think about than the torch operations. Okay, get rid of all this garbage. I don't need this crap. You're supposed to add some to log probs, you are, right? Logit offsets look sus. Does it? It starts at 0, and then it gets incremented by act sizes. What's wrong with that? Is this index block? Okay, this is just the should be fine, right? In one topic. Actions are populated. Good question. When do we compute actions from this? Sample logit's kernel. Sampled action. Yeah, you get it right here. It could also be that it passes the bugs in. No, it can't be that the bug is in the environment because we know it works without kernels. So it actually has to be here. Is it still OOM if I do we'll check without graphing next. I think that's still OOMs. Wait, rollouts dot horizon nuts. What? No. No, I don't think this is it. Hey, E10. Fixing a multi-discrete sampling kernel. As usual. I've actually, the more I've used these models, the more I think that they are useful but incredibly stupid. These are like not remotely superhuman programmers at all. They're incredibly stupid and they really like they're certainly not doing anything resembling thinking. I mean like literally one or two step logical leap, no. Basic ass, like you even literally tell it and no, still no. It still can't even be rollout actions. Yeah, no. Wait, let's go double check. One thing we can do real quick. See if this one works. It's in default thinking, which is not thinking. Well, this still trains. What the heck? Did I screw up here? Am I wrong? Huh? Oh, this is the wrong term. That's completely the wrong term. Wait, what? I have no idea how this freaking happened. Come on, give me 2. First example in batch. It is the number of observations trained on per second. Well, it's actually the number of observations sampled per second. You can technically train on each one more or less. So it's the number of observation. It's the amount of data collected from the environment in observations. And it includes the sampling, includes the time taken for training. Yeah, there we go. This is what we needed, right? Cool. This still trains. Yep, that still trains. Kernels are on, graphs are on. Perfect. Doesn't it matter based on the algorithmic choices? Well, yes, there are lots of ways to game it, which is why the target was 10 million steps per second with a reasonable batch size, right? If I do 32,000 environments, then I immediately am going to be like 20 mil or whatever. But I'm doing it with 8K environments and 32K mini batches. That was the target. Because that gives me basically, like for our simple experiment configuration, that gives us about a 3x improvement over Puffer 3. If I were a kernel bug, what would I be? What's this plus H? Where's H? Num actions, okay. AX times num actions. Still looks fine. Do you write tests? Yes. I don't write tons of tests. I write tests for like things that should obviously be tested. AI likes test. The fuck is that supposed to mean in this? Like, it's a kernel, dude. We can verify this is correct very easily. It's not correct at the moment. The other thing I could suppose would be TDD works well. We're not doing fucking TDD. I've had this conversation with you before. I'm trying to think how the memory layout looks with this. So I'm gonna look real quick. How do you think about testing in general? I test things that need to obviously be tested, and I don't write tests by default. So do you think kernel correctness should have a test? When it's like the op that if it's numerically bad, your whole training is screwed and you won't know why. And it's also really easy to write a test for that. Yeah, that sounds like it should have a test. If you're doing heavy performance testing, right? Heavy profiling. Do you think that you should have some performance tests for various critical sections of the code? Yeah, that seems pretty important, right? There are a few other ops where it's just like, oh geez, this piece of code is really complicated and it's verifiable, and like if it breaks, we're screwed. You hate TDD because it's boring. I hate it because it's brain dead, dude. It's a really shitty way to write code. It literally does nothing for you other than ensure that you have way more test code than you need, while providing absolutely no benefits otherwise whatsoever. Some of the buggiest repos I've ever seen were written by engineers that are like super heavy on tests and have dozens of times more tests than I've had in any of my projects ever. The code still sucks and breaks all the time. If your software is not testable, it's easy to break. No, see, that's the lie. Tests don't prevent you from having bugs. Particularly not unit tests. The test of PufferLib is, did you break training? Or is there a speed regression, right? That's the test. There's no other test that you can write that's going to guarantee whether or not you broke training or whether or not you made the thing faster or slower. What the hell is this thing trying to do? Okay, this thing is dumb. Yes, exactly. Let me just think what I want to do with this stupid thing. Slog probs. We're sure this works for single discrete, right? Yeah, you can't design a whole system up front. Software is an iterative process. Okay, see, we're still good here. And then let me just double check last time. So I want to, like, this is a very unlikely bug, but it seems like this is true. Oh, wait a second. This worked before, right? Yeah, this worked before. Now it's not working with kernels false. Okay, never mind then, right? That's very different. I could have sworn when I ran this before, let me just take this off to be sure. It also could have broken graphing, I suppose. Okay, so, never mind. The earlier thing that I ran, I don't know, something must not have been recompiled. That's weird. So yeah, it doesn't actually work multi-discrete. The path doesn't work. Interesting. So it's not the kernel, which makes sense because the kernel looked fine. Just make sure it's up to date, right? I could have sworn that worked before, though. Something's not right there. Ooh, that's promising. I'd believe that we just totally screwed up the buffers. That'd be consistent with the earlier thing as well. Oh, we have the same thing here. I think that is correct. It's really weird that that was silent. That copy. That's pretty bad, actually. So apparently, like, the copy underscore op is sort of weird, in what it will and will not let you do. It probably just calls memcopy async without doing any checks, actually. Would be my guess. To be fair, that's what it should do. It's inconsistent with the rest of Torch, though. Okay, so there we go. So there, at least one of these changes was not correct. Stupid freaking thing, man. Great. Okay, so there is a copy underscore wrong. 809. It's forward call. So was it fine to begin with? Stumbled on Puffer today. Is it meant for doing efficient RL on small models? Yes. It can be used for efficient RL and giant language model. Now, we don't do LLMs. We do everything except LLMs, pretty much. We're working on small models. We're not going to get to be ridiculously small. Like, sure, we could make 1,000 param models way faster than this. We're not going to do that. But anywhere from like 100,000 to millions, in like the millions range, is what we're doing. You can solve a huge number of problems in that range, and you are mostly bound by just getting fast sims and actually having hardware efficient implementations. So that's what we do. Typing for dimensions. It's a little more complicated than you'd expect when you try it. How's the weather in Florida? I mean, it's nice in the middle of the winter. That's about it. That's when I'm here. You know? That is why that's when I'm here. Yep. I mean, the main thing with Puffer Alec is like, it's literally 1,000 times faster than most of what is out there. Like, that's not me padding the stats. It's actually 1,000 times faster. That's kind of an undersell in many cases. Um, so we can just start solving. We can just solve problems in seconds that would have taken months during my PhD, and just do that out of the box. And we are expecting, like, within about a year or so, we should be able to solve sort of an additional class worth of difficulty, also just about out of the box. So there's some algorithmic improvements around this that are pretty general across model size. There's some like simulation engineering. There's a whole bunch of infrastructure and tooling. There's some optimization for smaller models, but it pretty much just comes down to being more aggressive about eliminating overhead than anything else. That's really the only thing that's specialized to small models. You don't really ever need very big models for the type of RL we do. Dodo was solved with 168 mil, for context. Thomas Edison's video games or robots. Yeah, those are a couple examples. Where's the overhead come from? Literally everything. Anything that a meta engineer has touched has overhead. So all of PyTorch. And then, of course, anything that a PhD student has touched, also like there. So that's all of the entire RL stack of software for you between those two. Oh yeah, please do start the Puffer on GitHub if you haven't already. It does help me out a lot. We're almost to 5,000. Mute. Interesting. Okay, yeah, there's the transpose on the actions. And then the log prob sum is also wrong now because it was transposed. I don't know why the heck it's transposed. Two and zero. That should also work. I got dinner in like 10 minutes, but yeah, this is a start. If we don't fix this tonight, we'll start the stream tomorrow fixing multi-discrete, and then probably fixing a lot of the other end findings up. And we'll probably do some cleanup around that. We'll see if we can get like, I think if we can try to get maybe a semi-stable like pre-release that you guys can play around with tomorrow, I think we might be already at that point. Still, a lot's going to change, so no promises on stability. Yep, so that did not freaking fix it at all. Good job. Did not work one bit. I suppose... Will the new protein changes be included? Of course. That's all going into 4.0. Hey, Antonio. What do we do with this? Split. Act sizes. Ooh, wait a second. Data pointer int64t. It's a safe cast, right? It is in 64. Weird. Waiting on 4.0 drop to resweep 2048. And when is it 4.0? 4.0 is done when it's done, guys. I can only work on it so much. I'm doing an all-day stream on it tomorrow. We'll have a decent pre-release, I say, like a decent pre-release, hopefully tomorrow, in the sense that you guys can actually go like look at the code and it won't be a complete disaster, and there will be some environments that train out of the box. Beyond that, it just is going to take some work. The PufferLib C++ file is 1,000 lines of code. We have a shit ton of kernel code. There's the modules file. There's the models file. It's like probably 5,000 plus lines of new C++ in this update. And I don't want it to be 5,000 lines of C++ either. I don't want to ship this much crap. A lot of it's really redundant boilerplate. It's just very tricky to figure out how to make it less redundant. So I'm working on that as well. But like we have several different language barriers here that there's redundancy because you have to go across the barriers, right? So there's the C to C++ via DLL. There's the DLL boundary. There's the CUDA to C++ boundary. There's the C++ to Python boundary. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. Not to mention all the crap that libtorch requires. It's kind of a mess. Select 10.copy. Select. Hang on. Select. Wait, graph actions. Okay, that's fine. And this is the function it's based off of. Take you to write the CUDA kernel. The sample logits kernel actually was contributed. Peru wrote the original one of it, and I just had to port it over from his repo. The multi-discrete kernel is just a for loop addition. But like the kernel is not the issue right now. I was wrong about that. It's actually just the porting of the torch the torch Python to libtorch somehow. Optimize PPO kernel. Yeah, it's very limited though, right? I actually could probably use some of the stuff in it. What was that library called? He had like the really small networks repo, right? Oh yeah, this one. I mean, this is a very cool project. In PufferLib. Oh, that one. Yeah, so there are a couple kernels. I asked him to go actually run the correctness tests on those because he didn't actually run the checks to see if the improvements were like breaking numerics. So I said to go run the checks and run training real quick. I thought you meant this thing. This is Jonas. I mean, he's got, what is it, source? Where is it sourced? A stupid thing. I don't know, anyways, there is some, I think the whole thing's a kernel or whatever. I forget what this is. Okay, I'm kind of like, well, it's dinner time anyways. I don't want to leave this exactly like this though. Mm, some. I'll probably just have to like check this against the torch implementation. It's a little, the thing is, it's annoying to check because it's RNG dependent, right? It's probably the stupid train operation anyways. That's the one that's fancy. Anyways, folks, I gotta get dinner, so I will be live all day tomorrow. We'll continue on this then. I'll see if I can get us a stable version. If you're new around here, I stream all my dev on Puffer, High Performance RL. Start the Puffer, feed him a star, helps the project a lot. Join Discord if you want to get involved with dev. Follow on X for more RL content. I'll be back tomorrow morning.